Hello, and welcome to the Art of Living Well podcast. I'm Stephanie May Potter, and I'm here with my co-host, Marnie Dotches-Marmette.
We created the Art of Living Well podcast to empower you to live your happiest, healthiest, and most authentic life. Each week, we will bring you inspiring and motivating conversations covering health and wellness topics, including fitness, mindset, food, travel, product reviews, and strategies from a variety of experts, including our own bank of knowledge.
We are excited to educate, motivate, and inspire you to change the way you perceive health and discover your art of living well. Get ready to feel inspired.
Hi, this is Marnie Dotches-Marmette, and I'm here with my co-host Stephanie May Potter of the Art of Living Well podcast. And we are bringing you a bonus episode today. We both thought it would be nice to have our daughters on the show in this time of coronavirus. We wanted our girls to have a voice and let our audience know kind of what they're feeling like during this hard time in all of our lives. So I'm going to start off by letting my girls introduce themselves.
I'm Sage, I'm 16, and I'm a sophomore in high school.
I'm Gabby, I'm 13, and I'm a 7th grader in middle school.
I'm Caroline, I'm 11, and I'm a 6th grader in middle school.
Great, thank you guys so much. So we just wanted to have a conversation with you guys and see how you're all feeling during this time. And you guys can kind of jump in at any time. But first of all, like, what do you guys think about all this social distancing? Like, how is this going for you?
I think that it's been really hard, at least for me, but also what helps me get through it is just knowing that everybody is also going through the same thing and that it's not just me, it's basically everybody in the world that's going through this at the same time. And so everybody is a little bit lonely right now, and having some social connection has helped me get through it, and just being able to have access to internet and being able to connect with people has really helped a lot.
I agree. I think it's also really sad that we don't get to see our friends, but we still, like what Sage mentioned about having the internet, we still can FaceTime our friends and text with them.
Yeah, that's the same thing for me.
Okay, and do you guys feel like you can connect on the same level as you do face-to-face over the internet, or does it feel different?
I think that it's different. I mean, obviously face-to-face is the best kind of social interaction where you're the closest with somebody. But I would say having FaceTime and things where you can see somebody's face is the closest that you can get to having that interaction. So we're lucky to be able to have that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if this would have happened 10 years ago, without all this technology, it would be very different.
Yeah.
Right? What about you, Caroline?
Yeah, I'm just glad that we have that. And it's better to FaceTime friends than just have no one to talk to, than just your family.
And how is it going with family? Do you guys feel like you're being smothered? I don't know what the right word is, but do you feel like you're being smothered in family time? Are you enjoying the family time? How are you guys feeling about all this extended family time? You can be honest.
Mm-hmm. Go.
Okay.
I mean, you can go.
It's okay, go.
Okay. I mean, it's nice to spend time with your family, but when you're with them 24/7, you kind of just want to do your own thing.
Well, I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, I think that we can all get a little bit of cabin fever, different points of time, but it's been nice. We haven't had this kind of family time in a very long time. So it's been nice to be able to have that interaction all the time, but also it can get to be a lot, but it's been nice.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, it's really nice to have family time because now that Zach's home from college, like, we can finally spend time with all five of us. So it's really nice that, like, we get to be together.
And what about, what are some things that you guys have been doing that you don't typically do? Like either you're doing more of it now that you really enjoy, or maybe some new projects or things that you've started that you otherwise wouldn't have had an opportunity to do.
Well, Sage and I have been baking and cooking a lot more than we normally would. Like, normally we would do maybe once a month, but now we've done it like 5 times in a week. So that's been really fun.
Yeah, that's like the same. We did a lot in the beginning and then we held off, but then I want to get back into like doing a lot more cooking and baking.
What kinds of things are you cooking?
We made gnocchi, and I feel like we did a lot more baking than cooking in the beginning.
Well, you made crepes.
Yeah, that's like baking.
Yeah.
So did these guys, right?
Yeah.
I think we've been talking a little bit and exchanging some recipes here.
Exactly.
And so are there things that you're looking forward to kind of doing still with some of the extra time that you have?
I'm just looking forward to being able to try a lot of new things that I don't always have time to do, or like try cooking a new recipe, or trying to go on a longer run than I usually have time for, or just picking something up that I haven't done in years just because there's so much more time now.
Like the sewing machine?
Right.
Yeah, tell us about what you've been sewing.
Well, it was more at the beginning of quarantine. Now that school has started, it's slowed down, but I sewed a blanket one day and I sewed a mask one day, or like, yeah. And so it was just a random fit of boredom, I guess, that ended up inspiring me to take out a sewing machine and sew when I haven't done it in probably 7 years.
Yeah, how does that feel?
I think it feels good to be able to have time to do things that you don't normally have time to do right now.
Yeah. I think we call that, what do I keep calling that, Coco? The silver lining. My kids are sick of me saying silver lining, but there's so many every day.
Yes, absolutely. What about you, Gab? Do you feel like you've had any silver linings or things that you've had a chance to do besides cooking that you haven't normally done?
Well, we did just redo the art room. Before it was like unwalkable in there.
It was a disaster.
So we cleaned everything out and now we have like a really good space to like do art. So it's been really nice to start painting more and drawing.
Yeah, same with us. We had this like playroom and then we turned it into like a workout room and an art room. Like before it was like so messy, like you couldn't even like walk in there. And then now like I'm down there a lot more and I'm painting and sewing, so that's nice.
That's awesome. Are you guys feeling scared or worried? Or like, how do you handle like any concerns you have about the virus?
So I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily scared of it, but I'm more afraid that I would potentially get it and spread it to somebody, more so than it being a harm to me. And I'm also more worried about like what the world will be after this is all over, and how different it will be, and how that will affect our lives within the next like 5 years.
And what about you? Do you think about it, or are you just kind of living more day to day?
Well, I think about it a lot, and well, I feel like the rest of the year, or at least the rest of the school year, is probably going to be like at home, because we've still been going up a little bit. Some places we've been going down, but I'm a little worried about this summer, I guess, because that's like the one season where you can like be free. As much as I love school, like you can do whatever you want to, you can swim, like there's so many more things that you can do, and like you can go to summer camps. So like I'm like, worried that my summer that I had dreamed of might not happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very valid concern. What about
Yeah,
you?
I'm like worried about summer too, like all the sports and stuff that I love to do in summer camps. Like I'm going to two, and I'm worried that like I may not be able to go. And like there's this one that I go to for a long period of time, and like it's like kind of like my second home. Like I love it so much. So yeah, I'm just like kind of like scared about not going. Not like scared, but just like worried.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And wondering what the summer will look like for all of us, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what are like when I think about those things and start to worry about them, I just try and remind myself to kind of live in the moment, live day to day, because the situation does seem to be changing so rapidly, and none of us really know what it's going to look like in June or July. So the best thing we can do, right, is try and stay present, focus on today and tomorrow and how we can spend the time now.
And not that it's not going to be hard, and you may be scared or worried or just frustrated with not being able to do what you want to do. And so what are some things, like if you do have a sad day or you're worried or you're just annoyed with your siblings or whatever it is, and you can't really leave the house, what do you do to kind of help yourself get to be a little bit like happier or more just maybe at peace with everything?
I just try to remind myself everything that I'm grateful for right now, and just how lucky we are that it happened in this time now than 10 or 20 years ago, and how it would have been so much lonelier and so much more isolated without all this technology and all of the connections that everybody's making right now.
That's a great point. Great point.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that?
No,
Like if you're feeling sad, I sometimes think you go up to your room when you need a break and you shut the door.
yeah, I guess
Yeah.
sometimes when the family's being really annoying, I try to I
It's
try to
okay.
connect a little more like with my friends and see what they're up to, just to like give myself a little break.
And I think that's okay. And I think that's good that you know when I know when you're frustrated and you go upstairs and you give yourself a little time out and you close the door and you talk to your friends on the phone.
Yeah, we all need to do that, even the moms, right? And the dads.
And sometimes moms scream, right?
Yes.
Like
That does not happen in our house at all.
We just like
I know.
Sometimes we just scrub the floor in the toilets.
And we do that also. You thought it was just me, apparently.
so we're doing lots of things that we normally wouldn't be doing, but they are good life skills.
Yes.
You guys
Exactly.
will know how to run a home someday.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Your brother will too. It's not like it's just a girl thing. Everybody in the house is doing it.
Absolutely. So what do you guys think about the virtual school? How's that going? Because this is now your second week. You're finishing up your second week.
Okay, I can go still. I just think that it's a little bit odd, just because you're with people, but you're also not with people, and so it's like this. You get the social interaction, but it's not in the same way as it would be in school, and it's not. One of my teachers said that it's almost like mocking us for being alone, just because you're with everybody, but you're not physically with them, and it's like. They said something about how you're tricking your body into thinking that you're with people, or your mind that you're with people, but your body knows that you're not. And it's just this weird kind of middle ground where you don't really know how to react about it, just because it's uncharted territory and we don't really know what's going on.
That's such great perspective. I like how you framed that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about what do you think of virtual school?
I think it's nice to like see everybody and connect with my friends and schoolmates or classmates. But also, like what Sage said, it kind of like reminds me that I'm alone and I can't actually like see them in real life.
And everybody's dogs are coming, right, to
Yeah.
school. And you're seeing your teachers in their own homes.
Well, some of my teachers put backgrounds on,
Oh, they do?
That's really funny.
but like Bahamas backgrounds.
What about you, Caroline?
Yeah.
Well, for my school, we don't like have like online classes. Like they just gave you the work to do. So it's not that I feel like we're not like learning as much because I feel like they should like make like a Zoom for each class, or like sometimes they'll just make like a screencast the night before and then post it in the morning of that day, and then we just watch that. So there's
no interaction?
no, that's what I don't really like about it. I wish there was like an online class with like everyone there.
And do they have any kind of setup where they're like weekly you get to meet online or?
No,
No, okay.
so
it's very different than what
Yeah.
you guys are doing.
It's much
It's
more
also-
independent.
yeah, for like public, it's different because like Will has the same thing as they have. I feel like it's for private schools they try to do more.
But you did set up a Zoom call with some kids in your
yeah.
language arts class.
Yeah, my friends, we just like work together on that, but that's pretty much all for like doing any Zoom or Google Meets.
So you guys can all agree that you miss school, real school then, right?
Yeah, I think at least for me, I've just definitely taken it for granted, where when I was there, I didn't really realize how important it was to be there and have that social interaction until I didn't have it.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting when you guys go back to have that perspective of how much more you'll appreciate your
Yeah.
teachers and your classmates. And I tell the girls, even kids you didn't like, you'll have a new appreciation for. Right?
Absolutely. Or just reaching out to people that you didn't know, because it's another it's another school classmate, right?
Yep. And what about your routines, your daily routines? Do they feel different now? Like, do you feel like you have a routine with virtual school, or do you feel like every day is kind of, you don't know what to expect when you wake up?
It feels the same. We made like this routine kind of thing for school, and that definitely helped with it. So I know what to do every day, and it's just like the same schedule. So when we're all done with school, we can be together for a period of time and then go back.
But you're sleeping in probably a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I've made a schedule for myself, but it sometimes feels like the same because we have school, then I do homework, and then I do my online virtual dance classes. So in some ways, my schedule feels similar, but it like changed too because we're not actually there.
For me, I feel like it's kind of been a mixture of not really knowing what's going to happen every day and having a set schedule, just because I have a set school schedule every day, but it's very short and it's not really like how normal school is. I have like a 3-hour block during the mid-morning of school, and then there's long breaks in between each class, which is about 30 minutes. And so it doesn't really feel like it's school. It's so short. And there's just so much time in the day and so much work that happens every day and different things that I just never really know what's going to happen during the day or what the day will bring.
So there's not a lot of routine.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you guys feel like you like the lack of structure, or do you miss the kind of more structured environment?
I think for me, kind of both, just because it's been a really nice reset for me at least. And it's definitely a lot lower stress not having like super long classes and tons of homework, just because So I've been getting a lot more sleep and like a lot more time to work out and run and do all these things I didn't have time to do. But also at the same time, I really like having that structure of school and where I get up at the same time in the morning and go to school and see my friends.
Yeah. And what about, I know all three of you do like sports and extracurricular activities. So how has it been that those, like the teams that you're on, even if you're doing it virtually, you're still not with them? How do you guys feel about like none of the team sports happening right now?
Well, for me, oh yeah. Well, for me, mine ended, so it's not that different.
But like swimming and lacrosse, there's things that you were doing that would be happening right now that aren't.
Yeah.
Well, I have online dance classes, and in some ways it's nice because like we are all dancing, but in like we're dancing and we're online, we can talk to each other. But in other ways, it's very different because we're actually not together, and like in dance, you're supposed to have like interactions with your friends, and like it's a very team sport. Like you're always there for each other. But then like when we're just doing the online classes, we're not really.
So for me, it was my track season this spring, and on my team, we really make it like a really positive team culture and really close team. And so it's been kind of hard to stay together and connected, but we've been working really hard to like make a team workout log to try to help everybody get the motivation to work out. And we've been doing 3 days a week of team workouts on Zoom and things like that. But we've all been acknowledging how hard it is to try to keep working out and keep the team culture that was there when we were all together that now we don't have because we're not together.
Yeah, I can imagine that there are kids all over the place feeling all of these things that you guys are expressing right now.
Yeah.
And I wonder, you know, are there things that you wish that we would say to you guys in regards to coronavirus, or just how your life has changed? Like as parents, what can we do to support you guys?
Yeah. And you feel like, do you know what's going on? Like as parents, are we being open and providing enough information, but maybe not too much information as to what's going on, so that you feel like you're not in the dark either?
I mean, I feel like at least you guys have been doing a really good job of like balancing how much you're telling us and how much stress that it's going to cause us, I would say, where we're talking about it pretty openly, what's going on in the world, but we're also not talking about it too much where we're like freaking out about it. And so I would say it's been a good balance for us at home where, again, we're talking about it openly and when we want to, but also we're trying to focus on other things and like good things that are happening in the world and result of what's going on.
I agree with Sage with that. I think that, yeah, our parents are like giving us enough information so that we know what's happening, but not so much that, like what Sage said, that we're like stressing out and going crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same with me.
Yeah. And maybe using like the dinner time conversation, the time that we have now at home to have dinner every night, to talk a little bit about that, maybe for a few minutes, and then dive into something, happier, or, you know, share something about our day. Even though we're all together, there's things that happen now that you guys have your online school.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you guys have a new, maybe you can talk a little bit about the puppy and how that's been.
Well, we got a puppy over spring break for us, and it's been really nice because without her, like we take her on walks and we bring her out to the bathroom and we play with her. So it's been like really nice to fill up time, because I have a feeling that without her, we'd be a lot more like bored and not really knowing what to do. Of course, there's always something to do, but sometimes you just like don't know what you want to do. And I feel like Lila, she really like brought a way for us to like do something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she's a really good, like, happy distraction, and it's just, she's something that we can control in our lives, and it's nice to have something where, like, you know that she needs to go on a walk, you know that she needs to go outside, and it's just like one thing that's going on right now that we have control over.
Yeah. And just the unconditional love that a puppy brings to the family, right? Especially during a time like this.
And she's brought a lot of joy, right? Because we did have a lot of disappointments, you know, missing out on a big trip that we had planned for a long time. And I know you guys had the same situation, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners have had the same, where a lot of people have a lot of disappointments that they're encountering, you know, kids leaving college early and missing graduations and proms and all these things that all these teenagers are experiencing. And it's nice to bring some sort of joy into your life.
Absolutely. So as we kind of wrap up the conversation a little bit, what are you guys most excited about once these restrictions are lifted? And we don't know exactly what the summer will look like, but maybe what's something that you're just really excited to be able to do once we're not in this stay-at-home mandate?
Well, I am really excited to see my friends and actually be with them instead of just calling them or texting them. And then also, if it ends before the summer, I would be really excited to go to my 2 summer camps that I go to.
Yeah.
What about you, Caroline?
I am going to be really excited just, again, like, to see my friends and to just be able to go outside where I want to go outside and be able to go places in the city and be outside places and enjoy the beautiful weather and not only be confined to my neighborhood.
What about you, Caroline?
Oh.
Oh, we have our dog here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just excited to see my friends and go outside to the places I love to like explore with them, and like be able to go to the pool and go do those fun activities like sports and camps.
So I think we can gather from that you're all really excited to see your friends in person. And I'm super excited to see my friends and family. So I get it. Like,
you know, we may be 20, 30 years, you know, difference in age, parents and kids and teens, but we all have the same needs, and we want to be with people and be close physically to people, not just, you know, having conversations with them over the phone. And I think we're all kind of looking forward to really the same things.
so we want to just thank you girls for coming on the show today. Really appreciate it and love having you guys and hearing your perspective.
Yep. It's their first podcast appearance, right?
And we hope everybody has a great day.
Yep.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to the Art of Living Well podcast. We are so grateful that you joined us today.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend or anyone else you think may benefit from this information. We'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and tag the Art of Living Well podcast on social media.
If you want more inspiration in between episodes, you can find us on social media at theartofliving_well on Instagram and Facebook, where we will share snippets from our daily lives and our journey to living well.